So what if life isn't this big battle you have to win, or some huge problem you need to solve? What if it's just a process you live through? Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful idea from this text that shows how just that one little shift in thinking can take life from feeling totally chaotic to something, well, something truly meaningful. Okay, so let's start with the line that really sets the stage here. I no longer try to fight the process. Wow, I mean, that one sentence says it all, right? It's about this massive shift from always resisting to just accepting, from struggling against everything to actually participating in it. That's the goal, so let's break down how the source material says we can get there.
All right, Section 1, the process of life. And this is all about resisting the flow. You know that feeling, right? That sense that you're constantly fighting against the current, like you're trying to swim upstream while this huge river is pushing you back. That's where this whole journey starts.
And a lot of that resistance, it comes from this feeling of just chaos. The text describes it as a state where life feels like a bunch of random, disconnected things just happening. There's no rhyme or reason, no sequence. It's just stuff happening to you. You know, it's that classic feeling of being a passenger in your own life instead of the one behind the wheel.
So, when your life feels like total chaos, what happens next? Well, according to this text, the result is pretty predictable. A deep sense of emptiness, a life that just feels like it has no real value or meaning.
Okay, this slide really puts it all into perspective. It shows these two totally different states of being. On one side, you've got life during active addiction. Things feel random, life has little meaning, you're just doing stuff without knowing why. But then look at the other side, in recovery. Suddenly, you understand what's happening. Life becomes this meaningful process. You're not just doing things anymore, you're participating. So the big question is, how in the world do you get from the left side to the right side?
Well, the text suggests it's not some random accident. There's actually a tool for it, a kind of metaphorical key that can unlock this whole new way of living.
And hey, this key isn't some big secret. The source is very clear. It's the 12 steps. It's presented as this really practical framework, a structured path that helps you move from that chaotic state to one of real clarity. It's what lets you finally participate in the process of your own life.
So what does it actually mean to use this key? Well, it breaks down into some really concrete actions. First, you have to accept all of yourself, the good, the bad, all of it. No more denial. Then, you examine yourself, you look honestly at your own thoughts and behaviors. The next step is a big one. You have to share all of that completely with another person. And finally, you develop this understanding of your own powerlessness and find strength in a higher power. This is the real hands-on work of turning that key.
Okay, so you do the work, you turn the key. What happens then? What are the results when you finally stop fighting and start actually living the process? The text points to some pretty profound changes.
The very first result mentioned is humility. And what's interesting is how the source ties this directly to that step of opening up completely to another person. It's like that vulnerability is the secret ingredient that helps you develop a more grounded, realistic view of yourself, and it kind of kicks off this amazing chain reaction.
And that same act of sharing, it also gives you perspective. I mean, when you finally get out of your own head, you start to see your life in a much bigger way. That feeling of being isolated in the chaos starts to just fade away. That humility we just talked about, it's what lets you see that bigger picture.
And all this internal work, it starts to cause an external shift too. The text explains that when you really, truly understand yourself, all of it, the good and the bad, it naturally leads you to accept other people more. So this whole process isn't just about fixing yourself. It's about reconnecting with everyone and everything around you. It's a clear path. Vulnerability brings humility, humility brings perspective, and perspective brings acceptance. So look, I know this can all sound like some huge, overwhelming, lifelong project, but the text brings this whole big idea back down to something super simple and totally manageable. And this right here is the heart of it all. It's not about figuring out the process for the rest of your life. It's about committing to it just for today. The whole focus shrinks down to a simple, daily intention. Today, I'm going to use the key. Today, I'm going to participate in my life. That's it. That's how you stop fighting the process and really, truly start living it. So we'll leave you with this to think about. This text presents the 12 steps as the specific key for this journey. But the bigger idea? That's universal. So what are the tools or the steps or the practices that act as the key for you?
What helps you stop fighting and start really participating in the process of your own life?